Hey, welcome back to Real Time Workflows. A little bit of a different video today. I'm going to talk to you about my experience last week in Nairobi, Kenya, where I was part of the Ndoto Imara Creative Week delegation, and I was kind of there representing emerging tech and for films and Unreal Engine specifically. And it was an amazing week, and I'm just going to take you through what happened, to show you some videos and some pictures and stuff, and at the end I've got a little sort of 2-minute safari video that I've edited together. So that's what this video is going to be about. Hey, welcome to Real Time Workflows. I'm MX Bell. I worked on Deadpool and Wolverine, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, 1917, Hobbs and Shaw, Wheel of Time, Little Mermaid, No Time to Die, tons more. What you're going to get in the channel are my pro tips and how I use Unreal Engine to make films. So let's get started. Let's make some stuff. See you down the road. Right, so last week I was part of a delegation. It's actually 2 weeks ago. I came back last week, and it was the week before. I was part of a delegation of people, mostly Americans. I was the only Brit to go to Nairobi in Kenya as part of the Ndoto Imara Creative Week sort of summit. My connection to this was Yvonne Muinde, who was one of my students when I was a mentor on the Unreal Engine Fellowship in 2023. And Yvonne and I had stayed in touch, and when the Ndoto Imara people had been talking to Yvonne, who lives in Nairobi, about who they would want to come and talk about this kind of stuff, not necessarily on just Unreal Engine, but emerging tech filmmakers and things like that. And Yvonne suggested me, which I'm very grateful for. And so that's how I ended up getting kind of looped in with this delegation of Americans, really. So the summit is intended to establish a dialogue between creatives, entrepreneurs, international capital, and with regard to trying to grow the entertainment industry in Nairobi and trying to figure out what infrastructure needs to go in place and what barriers there might be to getting it to grow. And so it was mostly about coming and talking to local people, international people, and trying to figure out what those things are and how we can all help try to grow it. It was honestly a real honor to have been selected to go, and I had such a great time. It was, I don't want to be all hyperbolic and say life-changing, but it kind of was. And crucially, made some fantastic new friends as well, and I've been in touch with them this week since leaving, which is nice. So I was brought on to deliver an Unreal Engine session, basically for a small group of people. We were oversubscribed, which was nice. So it was 25 to 30 people. The format was going to be a presentation of like my career so far, which is a similar presentation that I've given before. I've done it a few times, and Yvonne has seen it, and that's one of the reasons why she suggested doing it. Why she suggested me to do it. And then it would be like a Q&A with Yvonne, and then open up the Q&A to the people that are attending, and then like a 2-hour session using their tech, Black Rhino VR, so a Rokoko motion capture suit, and a VCam, and just showing people kind of warts and all, this is how he sets it up, and these are some of the pitfalls, these are some of the things you're going to experience, you're going to be aware of, you need to these are some of the things that you work around, these are some of my approaches to doing it. We didn't really know how much we would get through, and it's hard to plan for a session like that with different people at different skill sets, so it's just kind of being able to show people what you can do. But that was going to be on Wednesday, and I flew on Sunday. So Sunday, and that took most of the day, right? Because the flight's at 10 a.m. It's an 8-hour flight, and they're 3 hours ahead, so you arrive in at like 11 p.m. or something. So it took most of the day, and we were going to go on safari on the Monday as kind of a nice introductory culture session, but all the Americans are coming from, Atlanta and Washington and fucking Los Angeles, so it's kind of like they've had a really long day or two. Wasn't so bad for me coming from London. So we decided to shelve the safari till a bit later in the week, which I was relieved for because I'd not finished my presentation because I'd been doing those fucking Perforce videos the other day. So I spent all my time prepping them because I was going to be away for a week, and then didn't actually get to doing the presentation. That was the reason I was going away. So yeah, figure that one out. Anyway, the flight over was good. I like to drink gin and tonic on flights because it's free on British Airways. But the problem is that normally if you've only got a little bit of room, it causes quite a lot of detritus. Does just gin and tonic, because you've got you've got your little cup, and you've got your little bottle of gin, and you've got your little can of tonic, and so it causes quite a lot of detritus. But thankfully I had 3 seats to just fill with rubbish, so that was nice. And then when we landed, I got to know start to meet the other delegates and get to know them, and then we all went and hung out in the hotel bar that night. And actually, because we didn't have to get up early in the morning to go on the safari, we were able to do that and actually get to know each other a little bit, which was cool. And that's where I was introduced to the 2 local Kenyan beers that I'd be drinking all week, which were Tusker and Whitecaps. I think I slightly prefer Tusker, but let's not tell the Whitecaps people. So on the Monday, then I finished my presentation in the hotel, and then we went to the welcome dinner, which was like a really nice sort of banquet that was laid out with an art gallery. And Yvonne was actually presenting some of her artwork, and so were some of the other delegates that we were there with. And then the dinner was really, nicely laid out, food on the table, just passing dishes between each other, really nice, and got to know people. That's where I met Brian from Black Rhino VR for the first time, a couple of other people as well, faces that would recur through the week. Tuesday was the main summit. So it was kind of a long day of panels and talks, and I normally stay away from those. Like when they're on at Cannes, I'd be like, boring. But actually, these ones were really quite interesting, and everything moved along at a good old clip. The day went by really quickly, and I did a talk that day as well. I was part of a panel on AI, data, and IP. It's called Who Owns the Future? And obviously, as an emerging filmmaker with a slate of original intellectual property, that's kind of one of my kind of areas of interest. So that was really good. And then there was a drink reception at the end of that, so more Whitecaps and Tuskers and whatnot. And then myself and the other delegates all went off to talk about our work and art and professional wrestling. So Wednesday was the day of my talk, which was great, but obviously prep for that and the actual talk took up most of the day. I had to leave a little bit early because of Nairobi traffic. I had to get to the US ambassador's residence, where there was a drinks reception for the whole creative week with the ambassador as well. And so I had to take a change of clothes because it was like, business smart casual, so I dressed up for it, but I didn't want to be dressed like that all day for my talk, so I took a change of clothes and I took my big bag. And then, of course, I've got to take that then into the embassies. I had to go all through security, and then I had to stash it in the ambassador's residence. But everything was fine, and it was all good. Ended up getting covered in wine. No one quite knew how that happened. It was an accident. No one threw it on me. Right? Well, someone did throw it on me, but by accident. But it seemed to go entirely just on me. Anyway, fortunately, it was white wine, so no one could really tell once it dried after 10 minutes. Then Thursday was Safari Day, and now I was in the second van, the second of two vans, and we were at the gate, and I thought, I'll take this opportunity to go to the bathroom. And I told the lead driver that I was going for a bathroom, thinking, he's the one that's in charge. And as I was coming back, my van, the second one, was pulling off and around and through into the park, where we've been told, like, once you go through the gate, you don't get out of the van. So I had to go to the first van. I was knocking on the window going, they've just drove off without me. And so I got in the front van, in the first van, which is now the second van. So I got in there, and then we drove off. And it really was an amazing experience. And I just happened to put my camera onto, we found these lions, and I just happened to put my camera onto cinematic mode, my iPhone. It's an iPhone 16. I put it on cinematic mode, and I was like, oh, this looks really good. And then this happened, the lions started to do stuff. And I thought, well, it looks really good as far as I could tell on the camera screen, on the phone screen. So I kept it on cinematic mode, and I was trying to get as much footage as I could, thinking, oh, it's a nice excuse to edit a little wildlife safari video. So that's at the end of this video. Finally, Friday was kind of the last official day of it, and we went to the US Embassy proper this time to do like a debrief. We had a square table set up, like kind of like the United Nations with our name tags. And we talked about how we just trying to get across what we thought, what we discovered about what potential barriers there might be, what might need to happen next, and we discussed practical next steps for each kind of niche, because we were represented by art, sports, films, games, gaming, and each one of those had a slightly separate, slightly different experience and slightly different requirements and different next steps. As obviously my sort of niche is the connection between filmmaking and games. So we're working out what we can do next to try and help this along, basically, and spread the word of how Unreal Engine can help filmmakers, not just to make films entirely within the engine, but to actually plan for shoots and things like that, all the stuff that I talk about on this channel. And then finally, we went to the Kenya International Convention Centre, which is this big tall building that you can go up and you get onto the helipad and you can see all the views around, which is amazing. And yeah, it was a phenomenal week. I had such a great time, and I'm looking forward to going back. I hope I get the opportunity to go back and I'm hopefully prepare some hands-on material and teach Unreal Engine. So that was last week, and that was why I was having a tough time getting the videos out last week. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and all that stuff. And I'll catch you down the road. Here's a Safari video.